Today we're going to go over Taekwondo and martial art etiquette. What do we do the first time you enter the martial art dojang or dojo? What do you do with your first class? You've never been there before, you're unsure. So what I'd like to do is go over what happens when you enter, from everything from like tying your belt to entering the dojang, where you bow, how do you put on your uniform, where do I line up in the class, what's that person saying at the front of the class that I don't know, and many more. So if you're ready, come with me and let's get started. This way. So we've arrived at the dojang. Where do we go? Well, in a lot of dojangs you'll find that you have an area which is where they train with all the mats, and you also then maybe have a separate area where you've got the changing rooms or the little office where the master is, or the seating areas. What you want to do first is to go and find the master instructor, introduce yourself, explain that you're just going to be here, you're just starting for a new class. From there then they'll just maybe show you where to go and get changed. So that's what we're going to do first. We'll go and put on our uniform. So let's go this way. Right, so we're nearly changed. We've got the pants on. I'm not going to show you how to put them on because I'm sure everyone knows how to put your own pants on. What I will show you is how to put your top on. Within martial arts there's normally kind of two different styles of tops. One is more like a jacket style where it comes over and you tie it accordingly. So I'll show you how you put it on in a moment. And the other style is one that you put over your head, okay? And then it ties accordingly. So let's do this one first. Same again. Let's just pop it over our head. And our sleeves. Now, once you've got it on, make sure, same again, the back is just nice and tidy down the back. Now, let's pop the front up a second. You'll notice that you've got a piece of elastic. Okay, and this is really to hold the dobok so it doesn't fly around everywhere. And sometimes what you'll find when they're new, there's just elastic with, you'll see here, it's just a piece of elastic. Now what I've done with this one is just tied a knot in it, like so. And I've tied a knot in it so I've got a loop at the end. From there then, I'll take the loop and I've got a little button on the other side, and I'm just going to hook the elastic onto the button itself, like so. And from there, you'll see that keeps it together, and it stops the back from coming up, like so. Now, there we are, all ready. And then you also have the ones that are like jackets that you just put on like a jacket. And I'm just going to show you how to put them on and tie them, because sometimes when I first started doing this years ago, I couldn't understand where the little ties go. So let's start with the jacket tile. So pop jacket on, and you'll find they've got little strands. One on the actual lapel part of it, and one on the bottom, and same again on the other side. So it depends if you're left or right-handed. I'm right-handed, so what I will do then, I'll just take the jacket, fold it on the inside, okay? From there then, you have the strand on the actual lapel part of it, and you have the bottom strand, and you just tie the two together, just in a little nice bow, like a shoelace, just like you tie your shoelaces. One there, and the same again, the other one comes across and ties just the same again on the opposite side, like so. And then you're ready to put the belt on. Okay, so that's what we're going to do next. Now, what's one thing what we're going to try to do is when we're putting the belt on, we really want to try not to let it drop onto the floor, if possible. Now, from here, we take the belt, we fold it in half. There are two ways you can possibly do this. The first way is we take the belt, we put it round our back, and we bring it to the front. So I've got the long part of the belt in one hand, and the short part in the other hand. I then put the short part over where my belly button is, and then take the other part of the belt, holding it and bring it over on top of the under part of the belt. This part of the belt needs to be about 1.5 foot length. From there then, I take the other part of the belt and I wrap it round my back and bring it back to the front, making sure that the belt is on top of the bottom part of the belt, like so. I now have at the front, I have the belt part underneath and I have the one on the top. I take the top part of the belt, I put it over and under, and I pull it back up and through, like so. I now have two ends. The bottom end I put across my front. I take the top part of the belt, and I put it over the bottom part. You'll then find there's a hole and a gap here. The top part of the belt I bring back up and through that hole and pull tight, like so. As before, I explained one way to tie the belt. This is the other slight variation that other people do use sometimes. The same again, we fold the belt in half. From there then, where the middle of the belt is, we take that and put it onto where our belly button is. We take one side and we bring it all the way round to the front, like so. From there then, I take the top part of the belt and I wrap it round on top of the under part of the belt. Same again, making sure that the belts are one on top of the other. Now I have the bottom part of the belt and I have the top part of the belt. I take the top part of the belt, I put it over and I bring it back up and under. So I have part of the knot ready. Same again, I still have two parts of the belt. I take the bottom part of the belt and I put it across my body. I take the top part of the belt and I put it over the bottom part of the belt. And you will see there is a hole that is then created here. I then have the top part of the belt, I put my hand through the hole, I grab the belt and I pull it back up through and pull it tight, like so. And both ends are then the same length, which they should be. And I pull it tight, and now I'm ready to go. The other thing we need to make sure of when we're in the dojang is that, yes, we're neat, we're tidy, well presented, hair tied back for the females, guys, boys, if you've got long hair, fine, tie it back. But the other one we also need to make sure is our fingernails and our toenails. Make sure that you always have them well maintained, looked after, that they're trimmed, they're cut, because the last thing you want to do is two things. One is kick somebody and accidentally then it catches on their uniform or their pads or the mitts and you tear your toenail. Very, very sore and painful. And the same again for your fingers. You might be punching or blocking and you catch it and it's a long nail, it catches, it tears. You don't want to do that. And so that's one reason. The other reason as well, also, same again when you're sparring, you don't want to hurt somebody by catching them with long, sharp toenail or fingernails. So it's two points there to make sure that when you are in a dojang, you're well maintained, well groomed, and especially make sure you're cutting your nails and cutting your toenails to make sure as well. So, belt tied, uniform on, what do we do next? Well, the most important thing is we're going to first of all go onto the mats where you're going to train. Now, before we do that, we always will bow. Now we bow basically because what we want to do is show respect to the dojo, the dojang, the new training hall that you're going to, your master, all your fellow students, but also at the same time you're showing respect to all the previous martial artists that have gone before you from all those centuries ago. And we're just showing a bit of respect to them to say thank you to them for passing on all their martial arts skills to allow us to go and start training in them. So what do? Well, put our feet together. Our feet just come together, parallel, hands by the side, and we're just going to bow about a 45-degree angle and then come back up. The other thing you can do when you're entering the Dojang is to show respect, and it's nice and polite, is to say hello. So we do that at the same time that we bow. So we've just learned how to bow. So this time what we're going to do, we're going to say hello. And hello is Annyeong haseyo, which is hello. Annyeong haseyo. And then from there then, we step onto the mats. Now, we've stepped onto the mats. Where do we go? Well, some places you might just go and sit at the back and stretch out. But if you're new, the best thing to do is go and find the instructor. From there then, they'll explain to you where you need to go and stand. So that's what we're going to do next. We're going to find out how and where we stand in the classroom. Come this way. Come and line up. So where do we go? Where do we line up? Well, I've got some friends to help us today. So come this way. In the dojo, whenever you line up in the dojo, everybody is facing the front and facing the flags. And you will find that at the very front, at the top right hand corner, is the most senior grade. No, that will be any black belts and above. And then coming then down one step, so it always starts on the right hand side and goes to the left, will then be the next grade. So then you would maybe have red belts. From there then you'd have maybe any other red belts or black stripes. You always go from the seniorest down to the junior from right to left. From here we've got our black belts, red belts and blue belts. From there then you then come to the next line. And the next line, the same again, would be maybe green belts, orange belts and white belts. So as you see, everybody is starting at the top right, the most seniorest one, going then off to the left hand side, and then it comes back over to the right hand side again and then goes off to the left hand side. And in general you will find that the white belts will be at the back of the class, and same again in the order of who has started first. So you might have 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 different white belts, but even though you're all white belts, it's the ones who have come before you will be senior. So we have here today, I have my space here because I'm the newest person, so I'll be standing in the space at the back here. Same again, if you were just coming into the class, you'd be at the back of the class, and same again, most probably the furthest away to the left hand side wherever the spaces are. Or maybe you might find there would be a space here, the ones at the front are full, and you'd be here at the back right in the furthest away. So that's where you would then go and stand. Okay, so I'm now standing in my spot ready. How do I stand? I'm not going to stand here scratching my hair, rubbing my nose. No, I want to stand ready for the attention. And the way we do that is we're just going to stand here nice and casually, our feet like shoulder width apart, facing forward, and hands behind our back, just waiting. We're looking at the front, we're not looking around, we're looking at the front of the class, waiting for the attention or the next command of what will happen. We're not speaking to the person on the left or speaking to the person on the right, we're just waiting. From there, you will then hear the command of the instructor, and what they would normally do is they would say, class, cheery up, which means attention stance, and from there then they would do a few things. The first thing is bowing to the flag, and then from there then you bow to the master instructor, the instructor, and so on. So let's do that. So we're ready. But then hold on. How do I stand? They've gone cheery up. What am I going to do? What do I do? Let's show you. So we've lined up and we're ready. We're waiting for the next command. What generally then happens is that the class is called to attention, and from there then the class basically begins. So what takes place? Well, we're standing there relaxed, waiting. From there then the instructors will normally say cheery up. That means attention, so we need to go into the attention stance. So how do we do that? Well, what we need to do is we take our left foot and we bring it to our right foot, like so. At the same time we do that, we're going to take our hands and just put them to the side. From here, as you'll notice, my hands are open, not closed, they're open, fingers together, thumbs, everything together, just down by the side. You might find that some classes, some dojos, they'll have their fists clenched down by the side. What I would recommend whenever you're doing it is down by the side unless you're told otherwise. The reason for that, if you've got your fist clenched, you're all tense and all straight, which is not what you want. You want to just be nice and relaxed. So from here, then when the command is given, then you will then bow. What normally happens in Dojang's classes is that you'll bow to the flag first, your national flag, and then you then bow to the instructors, the most senior instructor going down to the most junior instructor. So let's do that. So we're ready. Then we need to go, we bow to the national flag. And what is normally said is then Guki de Hayo, Gungi, and then we bow, we lean forward like a 45-degree angle, looking down to the floor, hands by the side, and then we come up. Normally when you do it, you just pause for a moment. Gungi, bow, pause for a moment, and then we come up. So we've bowed to the flag. From there then, you would then normally bow to the most senior instructor. The most senior instructor to start with would be your grandmaster. So it would be Wanjaningi, Kungi, and then we would bow. From there then, it would then be the master instructors. Sabuningi, Kungi. And then finally the instructors. Kuisanimgi, Kungi. Now, we've bowed, we're all ready. From there then, you would then normally go into the Ready Stance Jun Bee. And that is what we're going to learn next, is the Ready Stance. So, the Ready Stance, Jun Bee. How do we do the Ready Stance? Well, we need to break it down first into kind of like three parts. We've got the stepping part, we've got the hand part, and at the same time we've got the breathing part. So, how do you do that? Well, what we need to do first is do the stepping part. So when we step, we're going to step 1 foot distance, and at the same time our feet will be parallel. So we step 1 foot distance between, stepping out with the left leg. Our feet are parallel, facing forward, legs straight, back straight, looking forward. Okay, so that's the first part. Now, second part, what do we do with our hands? So as we're stepping, my hands at the moment are on the side. Okay, so as I'm stepping, I'm bringing my hands up to the sternum, just a little, where the little hole is in your chest. You bring your hands up to here. As you're bringing them up, you make the fist, and you bring them into the fists. From there then, you will then draw them down, and they will be just where the belt knot is. At the same time, they will be 1 fist distance out from the belt knot and 1 fist distance width between your 2 knuckles. At the same time, we want to keep our arms in a slight kind of curved semicircle. They're not straight, they're slightly curved. Okay? So, we're going to step. At the same time we're stepping, hands come up. As they come up, they come into the fist, and then they come down just to where the top of the belt is. Okay, that's part 2. Part 3, breathing. When we step, we're going to breathe in for our nose, and we're going to breathe in to about 75% capacity of our lungs. And then when we exhale, we're exhaling through our mouth. So we're stepping and breathing in from my nose, and my hands come up. From here, I'm then going to exhale. I'm exhaling about 2/3 of my lungs now. And I'm exhaling out of my mouth. And as I finish exhaling, I finish the move with my hands. Let's try it all together. I'm going to step, hands up, breathing in, and come down. And we're all ready now for the next move. So, we finished the class, we had a really good time, we've enjoyed it, we now need to leave. So, how do we leave? Well, let's show you. When you step off the mats, you then need to basically, again, like we did at the very beginning, we need to bow. We're bowing to say thank you to the instructors, to your fellow students that you've enjoyed the class with, to show respect and say thank you. So as normal, we step with our left leg, coming into the right, hands go down by the side, and then we bow, 45-degree angle, and then come up. And that's just to say thank you. At the same time we do that, in some schools, you'll be asked to say goodbye in Korean. And the way you do that is by saying 안녕히 계십시오. Now, sometimes the actual pronunciation is different in different clubs. The way I was taught is the way I just showed it. So from here, same again, feet come together, hands by the side. 안녕히 계십시오. And back up again. From there then, we'll then leave, grab your bags, until the next time. As always, thank you for watching, it was greatly appreciated. And if you enjoyed it, hit that subscribe button below, and I look forward to seeing you soon. 감사합니다.